Have you ever found yourself wondering, why does everything feel just a little slower than it used to? Maybe you've noticed your hands or feet getting colder more often. Or maybe intimacy just doesn't feel the same anymore. Not as spontaneous, not as easy. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people over 60 quietly experience changes in their circulation, energy, and even their confidence when it comes to physical closeness. But here's the good news. Sometimes the answers are far simpler and sweeter than we think. Now, I know it might sound a little strange to say that fruit could play a role in something as serious as circulation or intimacy. But stick with me for a minute, because what we're about to talk about isn't just based on old wives' tales. It's backed by science and by the real-life experiences of older adults who've learned a few life-changing lessons along the way. In today's video, we're going to talk about 4 fruits that have been shown to improve blood flow, energize the body, and yes, help bring back that spark in your connection, not just with others, but with yourself. You won't need fancy pills or exhausting workouts. Just 10 minutes a day of making small, delicious changes to how you nourish your body. Let me tell you something an 84-year-old man once told me. He said, "The older I got, the more I realized life is still about movement, inside and out. And if the blood's not flowing, neither is the joy." That really stuck with me, because he was right. When our circulation slows down, we feel tired, we ache more, and intimacy becomes harder. Not just physically, but emotionally too. We start pulling back, feeling disconnected. But it doesn't have to be that way. Let's talk about how to bring back that flow, literally. The first fruit I want to talk about is one you've probably enjoyed for years without realizing just how powerful it really is. Pomegranates. These little ruby red seeds are more than just a pretty garnish. They're packed with antioxidants, especially something called punicalagin, a natural compound that helps open up blood vessels and improve blood flow. Think of it like giving your arteries a gentle stretch and a deep breath. That's what pomegranates do inside your body. There was a small study that looked at older men who drank pomegranate juice regularly, and guess what? They didn't just see an improvement in blood pressure, they also reported improvements in intimacy. That's because healthy blood flow is essential not just for your heart, but for every part of your body, especially the ones that support connection, confidence, and pleasure. One woman I spoke with, 71 years old, said she started adding half a pomegranate to her breakfast each day, just scooping out the seeds and tossing them into some yogurt. Within a couple of weeks, she said her legs didn't cramp up as much during walks, and her mood had lifted. She laughed and said, "I didn't expect to feel sexy again, but here I am." That's the power of giving your body what it's been craving. Now let's move on to something a little more familiar. Bananas. You might already eat them for the potassium, especially if you've had issues with blood pressure. But there's something else they do that's especially helpful after 60. Bananas help relax the walls of your blood vessels. When that happens, your circulation improves, and your heart doesn't have to work quite so hard to pump blood through your body. Better circulation means more oxygen going to your muscles, your brain, and yes, your more intimate parts too. One retired nurse I met in Florida swore by a banana a day. She said she'd slice one over her oatmeal every morning, and by mid-morning, she felt more alert and less sluggish. And when she reconnected with an old flame from her college days, she joked that the banana might have helped her more than any candlelight or soft music. Bananas also help reduce stress and support serotonin levels in the brain. So it's not just your body that feels better, your mind does too. And when we feel less stressed, it's easier to be open, to laugh, to connect. That emotional side of intimacy is just as important, if not more so, than the physical one. And these fruits work on both levels. But maybe the most beautiful part of all this is how these small additions to your day, cutting open a pomegranate, slicing a banana, can become little rituals of self-care. When we take time to nourish ourselves, we send a message to our bodies and our hearts that we're still worth the effort, that we still deserve to feel good, to feel wanted, to feel alive. You don't need to chase youth. You just need to nurture the energy and connection that's already inside you. Now that we've talked about how pomegranates and bananas can boost your circulation and rekindle intimacy in a very real, very natural way, let's keep this momentum going. There are 2 more fruits you may not have expected, but they've got powerful effects on how you feel from head to toe. We've already talked about how something as simple as a pomegranate or a banana can quietly work behind the scenes to improve circulation and bring back that sense of vitality, especially when it comes to intimacy. But we're not done yet. There are 2 more fruits that can be just as powerful, and you might already have them sitting in your kitchen right now. Let's talk about watermelon. Now I know you might think of watermelon as just a summer treat, sweet, juicy, and great for picnics. But what you may not know is that watermelon is loaded with an amino acid called citrulline. And citrulline, believe it or not, helps your blood vessels relax and expand, kind of like pomegranates and bananas, but in its own unique way. There was a 63-year-old man I met in Arizona who told me his doctor had recommended medication to help with his blood pressure and circulation. But he wasn't ready for that. So instead, he made a deal with himself. He tried to improve his diet for 30 days first. He started eating a small bowl of watermelon every evening, usually after dinner. Within a few weeks, he said his energy had improved, his hands and feet weren't getting cold as often, and something else happened. He felt more alive. His words, not mine. Watermelon doesn't just hydrate you. It helps your body deliver oxygen where it's needed, especially during moments of connection. And we're not just talking about romantic intimacy. This is also about how connected you feel to the people around you, to your partner, to yourself. Good circulation supports good brain function, stable moods, and the ability to stay present in the moment. Think about that for a second. When your body is well nourished and your blood is flowing smoothly, you're not distracted by discomfort. You're not worried about your heart racing or your limbs feeling cold. Instead, you can focus on conversation, on laughter, on closeness. That's the kind of intimacy that really matters after 60. It's not just physical. It's about being there for the people you love, fully and confidently. Watermelon is also rich in lycopene, which is a powerful antioxidant that supports heart health and lowers inflammation in the body. That means less stiffness in your joints and muscles, and more freedom of movement, which, let's be honest, makes everything easier, including getting close with your partner. When your body feels free, your spirit follows. That's a truth we don't talk about enough. Now, let's move to a fruit that might surprise you, berries. And I mean all kinds: blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. These tiny fruits are like nature's little powerhouses. They're loaded with flavonoids, especially anthocyanins, which help improve the elasticity of blood vessels and promote better circulation. They also support brain health, which plays a big role in how we feel day to day. One woman I spoke to, 68 years old and recently retired, told me that once she started adding a handful of berries to her breakfast each morning, sometimes in a smoothie, sometimes just by the handful. She began noticing subtle but powerful changes. She said she felt more focused during the day, her walks became longer and more comfortable, and something about her relationship with her husband deepened. She said, "I didn't expect it to affect that part of our life, but somehow we're talking more, laughing more, even touching more. Maybe because I feel better in my own skin." That's what good nutrition does. It doesn't just change your body, it changes your mindset. And when we feel more comfortable in our bodies, we naturally become more open to affection and connection. Berries also help reduce oxidative stress, which is a fancy way of saying they protect your cells from the damage of aging. And when your cells are healthier, your entire system works better: your heart, your skin, your brain, and yes, even your intimacy. It all works together. That's the beauty of nature's design. And you don't need to eat a pound of berries every day to feel the difference. Even a small serving, like half a cup, can have a noticeable impact over time. You can throw them in your cereal, your yogurt, or just grab a bowl in the evening instead of something processed. It's about making small swaps that have big ripple effects. Now, I want to pause here for just a moment and say something important. When we talk about intimacy after 60, we're not just talking about romance. We're talking about connection. We're talking about feeling present, being touched, not just physically but emotionally. We're talking about confidence. And all of that begins with how we treat ourselves, how we feed ourselves, and how we choose to move through our days. The older we get, the more we realize that health is not just about living longer, it's about living better. And the better we feel in our bodies, the more energy we have for joy, for laughter, for closeness, and for love. That's why these fruits matter. Not because they're magic, but because they support the very systems in our bodies that allow us to feel alive day after day. So if you've been feeling tired, a little disconnected, or like you're just going through the motions, it's okay. It's never too late to start tuning back in. Try adding just one of these fruits to your daily routine. Make it a little ritual, a moment of self-care, something you do just for you. And if you have a partner, invite them to share it with you. Have that bowl of berries together. Share that slice of watermelon. Make it a moment, not just a meal, because sometimes the smallest gestures become the biggest breakthroughs. And sometimes a fruit isn't just a fruit. It's a bridge back to the life and love you still deserve. Sometimes all it takes is one small shift, just one, to start feeling like yourself again. When you're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, the world may quietly try to tell you that slowing down is just part of life. But let me tell you something. Aging doesn't mean giving up on feeling good, on having energy, or on enjoying intimacy and connection. Far from it. So, we've talked about the power of pomegranates, bananas, watermelon, and berries. For everyday fruits. Nothing exotic. Nothing complicated. And yet, the way they work with your body is remarkable. They're not just fueling you, they're gently restoring systems that time may have dulled a bit. Blood flow, nerve response, hormonal balance, all quietly reignited, simply by giving your body what it needs. But this isn't just a video about nutrition. This is about honoring what it means to feel alive again. I want you to take a moment and imagine something. You wake up in the morning and instead of reaching for that first cup of coffee to fight off the sluggishness, you feel alert. You stand up and there's less stiffness in your joints. You feel lighter. Your skin looks a little brighter. And most importantly, you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel good. Not like you used to, not like you're trying to chase youth, but good right here, right now. That's what happens when you support your circulation, your digestion, your heart, and your brain. And yes, even your intimacy. Because intimacy after 60, it's real. It's meaningful. It's something to protect and nurture, not something to be embarrassed by or ashamed of. One couple I met in Florida, married over 40 years, told me their secret wasn't anything fancy. No surgeries, no new age miracle programs. They just started eating more whole foods, walking together in the mornings, and adding pomegranate juice to their breakfast. They laughed when they told me they'd been more romantic in the last year than they'd been in the 5 before that. And the husband said something that stuck with me. We didn't realize how disconnected we'd become until we started feeling better again. That's the part we don't talk about enough. When your body is tired or your circulation is poor, or you're dealing with aches and brain fog, it's hard to connect. You're just trying to get through the day. But when you nourish your body with what it really needs, something starts to shift. That fog lifts. You become more aware. Your confidence returns. Your ability to give love and receive it returns too. And isn't that what we want most as we get older? Not just more years, but more life in our years. So maybe you start small. A handful of berries with breakfast. Half a banana before your walk. Watermelon after lunch, or pomegranate seeds sprinkled over a salad. These aren't grand gestures, but they're powerful. They say to your body, I'm still here, I still care, let's keep going. Because you're not done. You're not even close. And this isn't just about food, it's about mindset. Every time you choose something nourishing, you're choosing yourself. You're reminding yourself that you're worth showing up for, that you're not fading, you're still rising. I want to leave you with a little story, one that came from a 76-year-old woman named Eleanor. She was widowed, living alone, and for years she'd felt like that spark was just gone. She told me, I didn't even bother with fruit. I figured it was for younger people with more energy to care about nutrition. But one day, her granddaughter visited and brought a basket filled with fresh fruit, berries, bananas, and some bright red pomegranates. Out of politeness, Eleanor started snacking on them. Within a couple weeks, she said her digestion improved. She had fewer headaches. But most surprising, she started dreaming again. Not just sleeping dreams, she said, but dreams about what to do next with my life. She started going to a dance class. She made a new friend. And she told me, it sounds silly, but I think those fruits reminded me I was still alive. It doesn't sound silly at all. So if you're watching this and wondering, Can something as small as changing my snacks really make that much of a difference? Let me tell you, yes, it absolutely can. Your body is incredibly responsive, even now. It wants to heal. It wants to thrive. It just needs a little help, a little care, and a lot of patience. And once your circulation improves, and your energy returns, and your mind feels clearer, what do you do with all that new vitality? You live, fully, deeply, without apology. You laugh more. You call that old friend you've been meaning to. You dance in the living room. You hold your partner's hand a little tighter. You let yourself be loved again, really loved. Because intimacy isn't just something for the young. It's for the brave. It's for those who keep showing up, year after year, and saying, I still choose life. So if you've ever felt like your best days were behind you, I want you to hear this. They're not. They're still unfolding. And if all it takes is a bowl of fruit to get you moving in the right direction, then grab that spoon and let's begin. Remember, your age is not your limit. It's your power. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Has any of this resonated with you? Have you tried one of these fruits and noticed a change? Or maybe you have your own favorite fruit or food that makes you feel more alive. Share it in the comments below. I read every single one. And who knows, your story might just inspire someone else to start their journey too. If you found this video helpful, give it a like so others can discover it too. And if you want more tips on living fully after 60, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more we're going to explore together. Thanks for spending this time with me today. You're doing better than you think. Keep going. You've still got so much love and life left to give. Here's to the next beautiful chapter.